Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Once again, Jess and I had the opportunity to interview game director STACY Plays. This is the second part of that interview. Make sure to watch the first part on Jess's channel. Link is in the description.
But yeah, I guess that was... Actually, wait, I just realized I have a question, Ebba, that we didn't write down, and I don't know why we didn't talk about this topic. But
Okay.
Snow is coming back to Jorvik. Finally.
Oh yeah!
So excited!
Yay!
I mean, when we're recording this, it's Monday the 5th, so in 2 days, we're having snow on Jorvik.
Yeah.
And it's like real, proper snow, it seems like.
Oh yeah,
I
this
mean,
was a big deal. They've been working on it for a long time.
Yes.
And for a long time it was like, oh, we're working on snow. And then when you see it, like the first time I saw it, I was like, stop right
It's
now.
actually snow!
What? You interact with it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That was a big
Cool.
one. When I saw the Tennessee Walker spoiler kind of thing, it's like, and I was like, what? It's snow physics? It's not just like, oh, the legs
Yeah.
clip a bit. It's like, what? Oh, that's
Yeah.
mind blowing, and I'm so excited. But I guess then, like, how long has this been in production? Because we haven't had snow since 2016. So like,
And for
when
a
was it
long
decided?
time, I've seen like whenever people ask about it, it's like, oh, it would take so much work, so
Oh yeah.
we don't think we will be able to add it, and then
also
suddenly like,
yeah, and I also saw people saying like, oh, it cost a lot of lag and people couldn't run properly
Yeah.
the game and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
what
it
has
did.
changed? Has this been like a project since 2016, or is it like?
No. It's been maybe about a year now.
Oh.
But the thing is, like, you need people dedicated to working on just this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we had to prioritize, okay, this group of people is going to work on snow, essentially, instead of other things. And I think, like, getting iOS out and some of the other things that we overcame unblocked a lot of people in that aspect. So they were able to actually focus on getting snow to work and making it function. There will still be a portion of players that won't be able to use the new snow because their computers are too old. So that is always something that we have to consider as well, that our players are on a wide variety of computers. So there will be requirements in order to see the new interactive snow. So it's something like 2 or 3% of players won't be able to use it, which seems like a small percentage, but it's still quite a few people that won't be able to. But that was kind of a decision we had to make, like, okay, do we exclude these people in order to bring snow to the masses in a wider scale? So we definitely had those conversations, and it was too good to not bring forward, I guess. It looks so good.
But that's interesting. So those people who can't run it and lack the necessary specs, they're not going to be able to see it like at all. It's not going to be a case of, oh, they spawn in and have like 2 frames per second and have to navigate to the little elf to turn it off or something.
No,
like,
I think
they won't see it at all.
There's going to be a setting to turn it on and off. I think I would need to double check, but if I understood correctly, those players will have a snow texture, similar to what we had before, but they won't have the interactive snow.
oh,
Okay.
If I understood correctly. And you do have the option still. Everyone has the option to turn it on.
Oh, that's good.
And so on Thursday, we want to do Snow Fika, where we actually show like videos from the players and stuff while everyone's enjoying their coffee in the afternoon.
So nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just to remind them, like, this is the excitement that you're creating.
Yeah.
Like, this is
It's not
is
just
what you've
pain
done.
and sitting and coding. It's actually fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I think those were all the major questions we have. We do have a bunch of user questions. There were so many, and we love getting them. Of course, we had to pick a few and try to narrow it down a little bit. And I guess I'll just start off with one here then. Have you ever had a major setback in the development process? What did you / the team do to make it work?
Oh, I would say,
good
I mean,
question.
yeah. To be honest, like, that's part of regular development. You always hit a point where it's like, okay, we need to make some compromises here. Like, especially when it comes to team health, because we don't ever want people to crunch or feel stressed. So as soon as we get to that point where it's like, okay, I think someone might be overwhelmed here. Like, there's something we need to do.
Yeah.
We often have to have those conversations of, okay, do we not do this? Do we change what we're doing? Do we change the time? Whatever. So we're even having those conversations now, like, there's something we want to do in a project and we get started and realize, oh no, we need to scope down a little bit. that happens quite a bit. I'm trying to think if I can come up with maybe a concrete example. I think maybe the biggest one that I remember is that we did previously start home stable customization like a long time ago. That's why everyone has like a couch and a bucket of paint or whatever in their inventory. And like a lot of this was built. It was built, and then we realized, okay, like we can't support this. We don't have the ability to sustain this really. And so that's why it's kind of been on hold until now. And that's why we need to do the inventory revamp to unblock it. But it was kind of like, okay, it just stopped entirely. We couldn't move forward with it. That's the most concrete example I can think of. But honestly, that's just part of regular development. You have to have those conversations.
Yeah. I guess you need like something to climb over to have the game develop at all, I guess. Like as with anything, if you don't face any hardships, it's not gonna evolve and it's gonna stay stuck at where it's at. But that's really interesting. That was funny actually. We had someone ask about the furniture and stuff, and we actually didn't include the question because we were like, oh, it's been asked so many times and they keep saying it's probably not gonna happen. And it's like, here you are, just
Does
like
that
it's
mean
gonna
that
be.
the plan would be with the home stable customization that you would actually be able to use furniture, or?
That's what it was originally. I don't know going forward what it would be. At the very least, it would be changing the visual aesthetics of what the stable looks like. But how much more than that, I can't say until we do our discovery for
It's
it.
like
really.
the only furniture is the couch. It's like, yeah, you can put the couch there. You have like a quest to revamp it. And it's like, yeah, here you can finally use it. It's been like 6 years or however long, and it's like, here you go.
It's like in one of the stalls in the corner or something.
Yeah.
But like we did talk about another example maybe of development roadblocks. Actually, I have a better one that's more appropriate, applicable for you guys. We had talked about a green screen studio in the home stable, which has now been built. So there exists a green screen studio for the home stable, but it's like just it's part of it. It's like the shell of it. So to actually implement the system and all of that, again, we're looking at, okay, but we need to rework the inventory system and maybe the home stable and work it into that. So it has started, but then we couldn't carry through with it until, you know, we unblock it in some other ways.
It's the damn inventory. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Okay, so from one idea to it being in games, what kind of process does the team need to go through from like the idea to finished?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we're kind of always refining that process as well, because we can have an idea, it can sit in the backlog for ages, or you know, depends on if we have the right time and capacity. But essentially, like once we have an idea, it has to go through the development process of it needs discovery and brainstorming. It needs to be pitched to the appropriate stakeholders, and then they need to go into production, and that always varies depending on the project and time available. So however much time is needed. There's some things that we know what will take, like if we want to do a small quest or a race, those are given. They can be done by one designer in so much amount of time. But if it's bigger, like horse progression, for instance, it needs a lot of discovery. What is it that we're doing? A lot of planning. How do we break this up into smaller bits? There's a lot of planning involved, especially like looking at the roadmap throughout the year, because like I said, we're going through a bit of a reorg right now. So I've stepped in as producer for the team that works on most of the content. And I'm looking at the year trying to schedule in, like, okay, when are we going to work on this project and this project? Okay, but vacations are here. Okay, but this is a red day because we're in Sweden and you guys have a lot of red days.
Oh, man.
And like, how do we fit in? Okay, but I have to make sure that people, you know, we have artists available at this time and are the right amount of designers available. And that's probably the hardest part, is scheduling out when people are going to work on things. Because then sometimes it's like, oh no, but that is higher priority, so we have to work on that first. And it's a shuffle.
Makes me like tired of just hearing about it.
It's a very complicated puzzle.
We're so glad you're doing it.
Like, I'm just curious. Do you work in like how do you say it? Agile methods, like in a project management? I've been studying that, and we talked about agile methods and Scrum and stuff. It sounds like you have something like that, maybe.
Yeah, right now different teams work in different ways. At least for the game content teams, we're trying to get everyone to work in more similar structures, especially because from my standpoint in direction, I need to be able to go into any team at any given time and understand where in the process they are. And we need to have the same types of pitches and stuff like that. So but once you get into like maybe the tech side of things, they're probably going to work a bit differently than maybe the game content teams. So the team that develops our engine or the tools that we work with, they're going to have slightly different processes. So some of them they'll work in Agile or Scrum. I don't get as specific with names. I just know what I need and I want to work towards that.
Question. I was just so curious.
Yeah. I mean, that comes up a lot. That's a really good question.
There were a lot of questions about the Jorvik Shilling kind of price limit, or the range 10k limit. Jesus. Yes, thank you. God. And also a little bit about like prices and the increasing prices and Starcoin's allowance. So I'm gonna try to summarize it into like some kind of comprehensive question. I guess we'll start off with like, has there any, like, what is the reason for not increasing the Shillings cap? Like, because it's been said before that it's not gonna happen. It's like, what is the reason for it? Can you like put it into?
I've heard it's for
summary?
like the economy stuff, but I think some people still wouldn't understand really.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm really not even the best person to ask that question, because it has to do with the in-game economy. So that definitely we need to look into it quite a bit. I mean, because we can't just keep raising the prices of things, of course, and that's not what we want to do. We have currently like set guidelines for how things should be priced, and even I think sometimes things are a bit too high. We probably need to look at bringing it down. But yeah, increasing the shilling wallet would be a much bigger disruption to the economy than even I expected. So that's what I've kind of been told, and I have to rely on the people that know about it a bit more than me, is that increasing it even the smallest bit would change drastically, like how star coins are spent and how shillings are spent and how they're earned. And I think that needs to be a big project in and of itself, really.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, like, this touches on how we earn money for the game as well. So, you know, it sounds, I hate having to talk about those types of things because a lot of times it's translated towards greed, and we never want to. I'm sorry, but this is one of the least greedy companies I've ever worked for.
That's fine.
We just kind of want to make sure that we're earning the right amount of money to keep things running at the same time. So it always comes back to purchasing star coins and spending star coins and earning shillings and spending shillings, and there's a balance there. And I think upping the wallet, at least right now, adds a lot of disruption to that. So until we're able to tackle it as a bigger project and more insight into how do we want to use tokens versus shillings versus star coins, we don't want to touch it, really. It's very fragile.
That's very interesting.
For me, like, I understand why it can't be raised. I think the thing that annoys me the most is when an item is like 10k and then you have to reach the cap and even lose some shillings just to get it, and then you have 0. That's a little bit frustrating. But I haven't seen as many 10k items this year. So
no, it's been better, definitely.
Part of the guideline now is no one item, and I think we made that decision, but after some of the recent releases were already done. But ideally, no one item is actually 10,000 Jorvik shillings for that reason. Like, I don't think it's fair to wipe out, have it be an entire wallet at once.
Yeah.
So
I remember
should leave you at least with a little bit left.
Yeah,
you know?
I remember when I started playing and I saw like this halter at Startime Ranch, or it was something at Startime Ranch, and it was 10k, and I was like, yes, I've gathered all this money. And then I took the trailer there, and I realized, no, I don't have my 10k anymore. So like those kinds of things, it's so frustrating because it's like you can't do anything. You can't even get to the place where you need to actually shop or you can, but you have to run, and it's like, you know. So you really have to plan it. So I'm glad to hear that it's being more, like, I guess, maintained, the prices and stuff. And I guess that kind of ties into what a lot of people were asking, like increasing, obviously a lot of people always ask about increasing the star coins allowance. And for the same reason, I understand why that obviously can't be done, because that's the way that the game earns money. But I think it ties down, or like it ties back to the prices being, too high, I guess. Like, and I'm glad to hear that it's being actually looked at. Like, the fact that a sweater can cost like 150 star coins, and it's like, okay, that's 2 weeks worth of allowance, and if you can't buy star coins, then yeah, you've just lost 2 weeks of saving up for a horse or something. It's like, you know, it's but I'm glad it's being looked at. It's very, very comforting in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually the buffer that we used when we talked about the 10,000 item price is like, okay, but you can't even take the trailer. Can we save enough so that you could take the trailer?
Yes.
So yeah, we had literally the same conversation.
So we did get a question about in-game report function. So I kind of changed the question a bit because I know that in Swedish servers we already have one, but it was implemented quite long ago. So I'm just kind of curious, will it be implemented in all regions eventually? And if so, why hasn't it been yet? Like, is it still being worked on? Has it been a bit like, it's not as prioritized, or, you know?
Because we did implement it a while ago in Sweden, and the goal would be to have it across the board. Part of the reason that it hasn't been is how much it increases the workload when we do implement it. So by implementing it in Sweden, all of a sudden you're dealing with like 10 times the amount of reports that you have previously, and most of them are fantastic. Some of them are not really reports, they're just kind of whatever. So you need people to kind of go through those, to take action, to moderate them. And we've been working to get kind of that structure in place so that we have capacity to cover it. Because if it's gone up that much just in Sweden, every time we add a new region, it's going to go up exponentially. Yeah,
that's understandable, because I use it quite a lot. Like, not that often, but before it would be like, do I really have the time to like take a screenshot, go to the site, send in a report? But now it's like, oh, I can just click and report them easy. Yeah. So it's understandable.
See, you do it for like legit. Oh, my lights just turned on their own. You do it for like legit reasons, and just imagine there's also a lot of people out there using it not for legit reasons.
This person is being mean to me. They beat me in a race, and I don't.
Or they're just doing it to a friend, like, she is a potato, haha.
And some poor intern has to go through that, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. It's just capacity to handle all of the reports. Really.
How long does the team spend on making a new horse / breed? What's the timeline?
Good question, because now it's too bright. I'm turning some of my lights down.
It was Baby Yoda. He turned them on with his mind.
It's actually my 𝐒𝐄 timer. It turns the lights on 1 hour before sunset, so... Sun it's 2 o'clock. The sun is about to set.
The sun sets at 3 p.m. or something. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sweden.
But horses, yes. So horses. I actually was producer for the horse team for a long time, and they are, I want to say, on average 13 weeks of production time. We're talking, but that's actual production time. The timeline for it is usually many months. Because you also have to factor in vacations and stuff like that. So it's probably 13, 14 weeks of production time, but then those 13, 14 weeks are spread out over a longer period of time. So we usually have, kind of like we're doing with the other projects, is there's specific people assigned to a horse project. So you have like an artist, 2 animators, a tech animator, all assigned to a specific horse, and they'll work on the horse during that time. Then another group will be working on another horse, sometimes overlapping. Yeah. So it's quite a long time.
It's quite long, yeah.
It's longer than I thought. Yeah, same. I thought it was maybe like 3 months or something. It's like...
But I think it's because it's been so many horse breeds, so it's like, oh, they're doing them so fast, you know.
So quick.
So we did get a question about the wardrobe, and we did touch on it a little bit. So, are you planning on updating the wardrobe anytime soon? A lot of people think it would be nice if it was similar to like the global shop, where you could sort items by type, color, even stats maybe. I personally think it would be really cool if you could like save a specific outfit somewhere, and then you're like, I want this one.
Me too, because I have to keep my items together. Look, I'm not very good at fashion, so I have to keep all like set items together so that I can easily find them and match them and just put that on. So yeah, I agree. I needed to look. When that would happen, I don't know, because like I said, the inventory revamp has to happen. So if the wardrobe is part of that or has to happen afterwards, I don't specifically know offhand. But that's definitely one of the first things that has to be addressed during the process. Yeah, and ideally it would be not just expanded, but actually revamped to function ideally more that way, so that it's easy to use. That would be my requirement anyway.
Yeah.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah,
you don't want to do the level one?
Because we already talked about.
Well, not completely.
All right, fine. The level. I'll read this question out. Or this message out.
Yeah, let's do it like a little one. Yeah.
Yes. What are your thoughts on
because
something?
I care about it a lot. Okay.
It's a personal question. Right. What are your thoughts on some players being really high levels, like 23 to 25? It's impossible for new players to catch up, which means they can't ever be as fast as older players. Is there any progress in solving this issue, and do you have any possible solutions that you are considering? So we talked a little bit about that, capping the stats at level 25. So I guess, like, do you have any possible solutions? Is there any more you can elaborate on that, I guess, from what we talked about?
That is the first step, is putting the cap on stats at 25. That's basically the most immediate solution that we can do. Will it stop there? No, probably not. There's other things that we need to do, but at least in that way, those that have been around for a long time still have that sense of achievement because they can keep leveling. Other players can still continue to level, but then we've kind of evened the playing field, where at 25 everyone kind of hits that point, and we also won't break the animations, which has been oncoming for a very long time. Everyone's like, excuse me, they can't get faster. Excuse me, we're gonna reach the breaking point. Excuse me. It comes up all the time. So that's kind of like our first solution. Well, to be fair, our first solution was kind of slowing down giving out XP. We needed to slow down, figure out when do we give out XP, how much XP do we give out, and maybe make that more consistent. And we paused it for a little bit as well until we could figure out what we wanted to do next. So this is kind of the next step, in that we will put that hold there at 25. But then after that, it's discussions that we need to have. So we need to talk about, okay, like, is this the final solution? How do we want leveling to work? Should it be different? We need to do discovery for that. So also, like, if you have suggestions or thoughts, especially if you're very passionate about this, now's the time to share them.
I was gonna send you like a big list.
I mean, please do.
I can say like quickly, but I've thought about it, and I think the thing that I would most like is if the stats, like the riding stat, would cap at, so like if you do everything in the game, like every quest and stuff, every like druid mission, so like all the grindy stuff, the highest level you can reach, it's like that's where the stats cap, because then no matter when you start playing, at least you can reach the same speed. But I also understand, like, the older players, they want some kind of like trophy, or like I understand they want something. It's just, I think it's so unfair that they're faster, because I've been playing since 2019, which is still like not that long, but I've been playing a lot of thousands of hours, and I'm a racer, and if I race against like a level 23, 24, if it's a long race where there's not like a lot of shortcuts, it's so hard for me to win, and it's a bit frustrating,
Like, if you meet somebody who's exactly equal to you, it doesn't matter. Like, if they have a higher level account, you're never gonna beat them. Like, if let's ponder that you're the exact same, like you and your opponent. You're never gonna be able to actually physically beat them, I guess.
Yeah, and now it's a bit better if you're gonna cap at 25, but it's still like, it's gonna take me so long to reach level 25. So before, it was the feeling of, like, no matter how long I play, there's still gonna be someone that's always faster than me. But
that's
so
good. That's a good.
I don't know. I know it's hard, but I guess that's just my fault.
No, that makes sense. That makes entire sense. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from, and that's kind of why it needs to be addressed, because it's really not fair to the new players coming in. We have also talked about other solutions, such as when you're doing races, maybe you're grouped with people closer to your level for like championships and stuff. So that way, if you are a lower level, you're not necessarily up against someone who's much higher.
Another thing could be like, when you do group races, like, when you are in a group and you start a high score race, for example, that it would somehow like remove the stats so you're all equal or something?
Ooh,
I don't
we
know.
just- what-
like immediately.
Okay, so looping back to the conversation we had about changing development and stuff. For the beginning of next year, we're looking at revamping the first 3 championships in the free area. And one of the things we talked about was doing a modifier that is an equalizer, and essentially would bring everyone's stats down to the same. And this wouldn't be applied to every race. It would either be a unique type of race or something we apply to races occasionally as exciting. However, we are approaching, for instance, winter vacations right now. So the timeline for whatever projects we do now are very short. And we're also fixing bugs we were fixing bugs from the Winter Festival project. So between the overhang of winter and the upcoming vacations, the time frame for this project is getting increasingly smaller and smaller. So the equalizer is a good example of something that we have, for now, removed from this project, and we'll need to revisit in the future so that we can at least get the championship stuff done. And it's kind of sad we had to cut something that's going to be super cool, but we'll have more time to look at it in the future.
Interesting.
But I love that you brought that up, because that's exactly what we were talking about with the team.
It's funny.
But so we're actually looking at like revamped those 3 championships being updated like quite soon then?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Q1 next year.
Oh my god. Let me see. So
we want to give them like a narrative and a purpose and rewards
so cool.
and.
I love that.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sorry, we went off track a little bit, but it was just such a good example.
That's fine. That's fine.
I've said what I wanted to say, so thank you.
I guess we will have to stop it there then, because we're 5 minutes past 2 and you had to leave soon. So
Can I just do the one with characters quickly?
Oh yes. This is a big passion.
Yeah. Okay. So, one thing I wanted for so long is I want to be able to wear 2 accessories at once, so I can have my deer ears, but also like sunglasses. And my idea for that is, I don't know the game design, but it would be cool if the accessories were categorized like, for one for the ears, one for the eyes, maybe.
When we can do that after the inventory revamp.
Yes.
Because like I said, we'll add more horse slots, but it's the same for the character. We can do more accessories once we're able to have more slots on them.
The damn inventory.
Right? That's what it is. We're gonna fix it.
It's very possible it's gonna be added sometime in the future then.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, I think it drives us insane too. Like, I want to wear glasses and something else. Why?
Yeah. Because I love the hipster glasses, but I cannot wear my deer ears. I need them.
She is Ebba Deerwin, obviously.
I look so weird without them. And I did a Photoshop where I have the ears and I added the sunglasses, and I look so cool. I'm like, I want it.
That's so funny, Jesus.
I love that you guys are like on the right track of everything that we've talked about. So I feel confident that we're on the right track now too. So
yes, that's so exciting. Man, I'm so excited for next year. I can't like even put it into words. And like I said, like this year has been great. It feels like the game is taking a big step in like the right direction, whatever that is, but like it just feels like it has improved so much, and the overall vibe is just so good, and I'm so excited for next year.
Especially after our chat now. I'm so hyped.
It's like
yay! I'm so glad.
Yes, this is the best. Like obviously I'm gonna be really bold and say that we definitely represent the biggest demographic, like the biggest part of the community. There's a very vocal displeased minority, and they're always gonna be complaining, but you guys are doing good. I'm gonna just say that.
Thank you.
Yes, very good.
And you don't have my contacts, so you can always let me know when I'm done.
STACY, just gonna read in your DMs.
Yeah, you're just gonna block us eventually. Like, oh god, please, no, not again.
No, I definitely get some of those. I get interesting messages. Not always so nice. You guys are always very nice.
Oh no. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I try to be nice.
But I guess we'll say a quick thank you to the video then. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, STACY, for being here yet again. Maybe episode 3 next summer or something. Will be
fun. I love talking to you.
Yeah, this is gonna be like, this is gonna be, what was it? I think it's been like, what is it now? Is it 9 months? 8 months? Whatever. We can have it like being a periodical thing. It's like, what has happened since Libby last spoke. But it's so exciting. Thank you so much, Stacy, and make sure to follow her social medias, and of course, play the game. It's gonna be great. Next year's gonna be awesome. So, bye-bye, guys, and thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And we're also looking into discovery next year for dressage and breeding. So those are some-
Excuse me?
What?
So that will be in my
I'm
my
keeping
blog
this
as, well.
as like, this is gonna be a snippet. This is gonna be a teaser. I'm gonna
do it, because
Okay.
breeding is a huge thing for me, and that's not
Yeah.
something I thought
I
we would
never
ever
thought that would happen.
prioritize.
Same. I
Sure.
was like, I didn't even
I
consider.
was like, I don't think this is the game where it would be possible.
No, but they've been working on this particular shader or something that allows for the horse coats to work a certain way, and I was like, does this mean breeding? And they were like,
Wait.
yeah, it could. So we need to. It won't happen next year, but we need to explore next year.
But it's like,
we
it's
can do
something
it.
that's in the works. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god. You say this with like, we have gone over 8 minutes, and you say this now. No, oh my god.
I'm sorry, there's so much to talk about.
I need like another hour. Jesus.